He's not hurt, Lex said flatly. He's calculating. That man is doing something called no contact. Look it up. It's a manipulation strategy to make you chase him. Hard to get 101, her sister added. They ignore you until you spiral. They feed off your energy, your attempts, your guilt. Nessa looked stunned. So you're saying he's doing this on purpose? Yes, they said in unison. She slumped back against the couch, overwhelmed. But I didn't know. I didn't know that's what he was doing. I thought maybe he just needed time to heal. I, I thought I hurt him. Lex looked at her, soft but firm. You did what any woman with a heart would do. Try to fix it. But he's using your compassion to keep control. Ashlyn picked up Nessa's phone. It's time. For what? Nessa asked. To block him. He had a habit of saying the right thing at the wrong time. You really fucked up this one, boy. You're so graceful. Marcus replied sarcastically. How the hell you call your fiancé by your ex's name in bed? I got caught up in the moment. He hit his head while it hung in his lap. If he could have, he would have kicked himself. So why would you sleep with her knowing that was going to happen? Vanessa was angrily tossing things around the room as she searched for her clothes, tossing handfuls of laundry across the room. Her cinnamon brown skin was glistening as she started to sweat. Marcus wanted to grab and kiss her, beg her to come back and finish what they had started, but he knew it wasn't that simple. Only 10 minutes ago, they were making love on top of his messy bed after indulging in a couple of drinks at Marco's Taco Bar, located just down the street from his condo. Marcus and Nessa enjoyed their date. They talked, kissed, and flirted. After a couple of drinks, Nessa whispered in his ear that she wanted to have his baby in the middle of her tequila haze. He shook his head, yes, and he rubbed her thick, full brown breast. They held each other's gaze and kissed so passionately that Marco brought over their check. They exited the bar and kissed against the wall outside for a while. He loved kissing her. She always had a faint taste of Starburst on her tongue, the scent of caramel dripping from her twist, and the warm scent of vanilla coming from her skin. He was in love with Nessa, for whatever that was worth. He loved getting lost in the moments of intimacy with her. She had a way of making him feel like he was melting into her as they became one. That turned him on. He never experienced that with any other woman. Maybe it was the intense eye contact, the way she ran her soft hands down his back, or the way she rubbed his head and cradled his face. Nessa had a way of making sure he felt her in every way possible. Because of this, she owned him, and she knew it. This feeling of making love to someone he was in love with was addictive, but he had a lot of addictions. They kissed themselves into a frenzy. The tequila had them both in a haze that made them throb for each other. They ran home, threw the clothes off the bed, and got naked, like they loved to do. He had her pressed against the headboard, their bodies moving in rhythm. She bit her lip, a sign that he was doing something right. While she was intoxicated with tequila and his love hormones, she moaned with so much passion, and he couldn't help but admire his lover's cry. He picked up the pace, feeling her pulse quicken as they both grew more lost in the connection. Her movements became more urgent, and he could feel the tension building between them. When the waves started to subside, she opened her eyes and looked at him. Let me take control, she said, her voice low. He shifted, allowing her to take the lead, both of them caught in the passion of the moment. She moved with purpose, her eyes locked on his as they continued to explore each other. It was so good. He slipped out of their world of intimacy into his sleazy center mode. He was no longer her man. He was the selfish man he turned into when he was getting sleazy with randoms, and he accidentally screamed out the name. K, 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 Connie. Shit. And Nessa stopped instantly. He felt his sin dripping back onto him along with the shame and guilt of his actions. She got up and went into the tirade she was in now. Through his embarrassment and tear-soaked face, he felt the words slip through his cracked and bruised pride. Nessa, please, let me explain, he sheepishly whispered. Don't speak to me, she roared, her chest heaving with fury, fingers pointing at his face. Her lips were tight, her forehead creased with anger. He paused, torn between lying or telling the truth. His mind raced faster than ever, running through thousands of possible outcomes. What came out of his mouth now would decide everything. She was mad. She knew he'd messed up, and he couldn't deny it. I meant to say, can I switch positions? Not Connie, he mumbled, trying to salvage something. His voice lacked confidence. His hands hovered awkwardly in midair, unsure of what to do next. He was disoriented, caught in his own lies. He knew he messed up big time. So this is why she had the nerve to confront me at the club, she asked, voice sharp with disbelief. He didn't respond, fearing it would only make things worse. Her frustration grew. You're a liar. This is the best excuse you've got? Sleeping with your married ex and calling me her name? You're pathetic. I made a mistake, Nessa, he said, his voice quiet, regret sweeping in. I gave up everything for you, she spat. I turned down a huge career opportunity just to be here with you, and you were out here sleeping with your ex, and now you're giving me lies and that sad excuse of a face? This is what I get? His heart sank, but he still tried to explain. It was just one time. Don't lie to me, she snapped. Don't you dare lie to me, you cheating, two-faced, disloyal coward. She grabbed her purse, the words a final blow before she headed for the door. Okay, Marcus, we tried the lie. Now, let's try the truth, he muttered to himself. I messed up, but I do love you. I can't be the only man who's ever made a mistake. She turned to him, cold and furious. You're not the only one, but you're the dumbest one I know. I told her we were engaged, but she wouldn't stop pushing up on me. I got weak while you were visiting your sister. I was lonely. His excuses came out one after another as if he was trying to justify his actions. Spare me the details, Marcus, she said, crossing her arms, but now she seemed a little less tense. She wasn't buying it, but she wasn't as wound up either. Marcus searched her face, looking for any sign that his minimization was working. Maybe there was still a chance to fix things. It wasn't even that good. Honestly, I couldn't even perform, so should it really even count? That was a mistake. She scoffed. So now you're telling me that your affair doesn't count because you couldn't get it up? Do you hear yourself? Tears welled up in her eyes as she took a deep breath. I'm moving, she said, her voice cracking. What? He asked, stunned. My sister bought a house next door and she wants me to move in with her. There's an opportunity at her job and I agreed. I'm leaving this summer. No, baby, please, he whimpered, his voice barely a whisper. You don't get it, she said, tears streaming down her face. Everyone warned me about you. My family, my friends, even my boss. And I kept telling them we had something real. But deep down, I always knew this was coming. I thought I knew you. I thought you were different. I don't want this. he said, his voice breaking. I wasn't going to leave you, she whispered, her tears falling faster. But now I have to. They stared at each other for what felt like hours, the pain in their eyes palpable. The reality of his betrayal hit him harder than any blow. This wasn't just about the affair. It was about trust, about her giving up everything for him, only to be let down. He realized this was it. There was no coming back from this. She sighed. He sighed. They made eye contact for a while, staring into each other's eyes and attempted to sever the connection between them with the harsh, sharp, and cold reality of his betrayal. The worst thing about this type of breakup was the instantaneous demand to return all feelings of affection, desire, need, love, and warmth to the supplier. Knowing Nessa was not the type to go back and forth with a nigga like him, he realized this would be the last time he got to look into those big brown almond eyes. She sighed. He sighed. Then she walked out. The next day, he went over to his dad's for some much needed guy's time, even though he knew he would just make him feel worse. He had a habit of saying the right thing at the wrong time. You really fucked up this one, boy, his dad exclaimed with a Twizzler hanging out of his mouth, switching his 3-year-old granddaughter to the other arm so she would stop trying to snatch it. You're so graceful, Marcus replied sarcastically. How the hell you call your fiancé by your ex's name in bed? I got caught up in the moment. He hit his head while it hung in his lap. If he could have, he would have kicked himself. So why would you sleep with her knowing that was going to happen? Gee, Dad, I don't know. Let me ask my penis. Marcus opened his waistband slightly, looked down, and began to speak. Why did we have to screw that nasty hoe? He said with a rapper's accent, DMX-like. His dad cracked up and covered his granddaughter's eyes. That brother crazy, the kind of ain't no woman gonna deal with. He waved him off and sat back down on the porch, hung his head in shame, and cried. You'll be all right. Gotta learn to control yourself, little man, his dad said, gesturing toward his sinful penis. Dad, I don't want to hear this. Marcus wiped his face and grabbed his niece, holding her while he cried. She was wearing the onesie Nessa bought her when she was born. I'm Auntie's favorite, it read. He sobbed harder. Hurt, don't it? All them games and gratuitous pussy far from free. You don't have to pay in the short run, but that long run cost is expensive. You're paying a cost many men have had to suffer. Learn your lesson now. Control yourself. This was his dad's attempt at soothing him, which he rarely did. His dad was very affectionate for a Generation X male, but Marcus was the child who never showed emotional vulnerability. That made this moment a challenge for them both. He placed his hand firmly on Marcus's back and rubbed him in a circular motion. Marcus listened to his advice because he knew all about the long-run cost of gratuitous cat. I'll be all right, Marcus sniffled, realizing his dad was pitying him. Yeah, in the future you'll be all right. But you also feel a lot of pain. You will have days where you want to die and days where you're happy you're living. So make sure the good days stay good. You get me? He leaned over for a fist bump to confirm Marcus understood his covert way of saying, don't fuck up again. I got you, Pop. Marcus confirmed with a fist pump and a half smile. Marcus and his dad spent the rest of the day watching the whole season of a dramatic TV show with his niece as their only female guest. They would watch the show, change her diaper, get her a snack, and situate themselves in between every episode. They spent most of the show talking about the dynamics in the family and how they were vastly unrealistic. The mom and the son hated each other because the dad had slept with every woman the son brought home. Marcus's dad just didn't get why the son hated the mom and talked crap about the guy every time he was on the screen, often yelling, "She should have Planned Parenthood your ass." They ended the night once Marcus's mom returned home. She greeted him, took his niece, and told his dad to wrap it up. She even gave him the eye and rubbed his meaty shoulders with a sensual, lingering swipe and squeeze. Marcus and his dad said their goodbyes. He packed a plate of the hot wings his dad had cooked and went home to his cold, lonely bed while his 57-year-old mom and 61-year-old dad made love in his childhood home. His dad, Terry Holcomb, fathered 4 children, all with his mother, Angela Holcomb. They had been married about 32 years at this point in Marcus's life. They always told their children that regardless of the situation, they knew they loved each other and would fight the devil to prove it. Why was it so hard for Marcus to find that kind of love? Roddy Rich rapped in the background while Marcus sipped Jose Cuervo and snacked on the wings he got from his pop's house. An intimate tape of him and Nessa played on the TV on mute, and every now and then he would press pause to catch her glimpse in the camera, look her in the eyes, and say, "You ungrateful bitch." He was salty as heck that she left. She refused to reply to any of his "Can we work it out" text, and even restricted him from commenting on her Instagram post. She never returned for any of her belongings after the night of the breakup. She left with her purse, wallet, phone, and the clothes on her back. "So I guess you're gonna keep my ring?" he questioned the television version of his former lover as he stumbled toward the mounted flat screen with the bottle in one hand, the chicken wing and controller in the other. He was so angry his temples were twitching. "I gave you everything," he screamed. "Why you couldn't just stay? Everybody got problems. Why you trying to make me feel like I'm the devil or something?" he screamed intensely. "I ain't the only man that got issues, but I really loved you, girl. Guess that don't mean nothing to you, though." He backed away from the TV with his hands up like he surrendered. Just then, he caught a glimpse of his pain in the reflection on the TV. He didn't like what he was seeing at that moment. A vulnerable, desperate, and broken man was staring at him. He looked just like his dad the night his mom moved out, pitiful and broken. Marcus was devastatingly sad and disappointed about his own failure to be faithful, just like his pops. How could one feel so shameful and abandoned at the same time? It was his fault. The relationship had ended, but he wanted her to ride with him, like Roddy Rich was rapping. This was the type of situation that changes a man like him for the worst. He didn't care whose fault caused the breakup. He just wanted to stay in love with her. Her ripping her heart from him felt like a slow death that rotted him from the inside out. So he could never let this happen again. Maybe next time he'd play it smarter. Disappear first. Pull back before she does. Starve her of him before she even thinks of walking away. That's the trick, right? Make her miss him before he ever has to feel this hollow again. Women used to stay in love because they wanted a happy home. Now they were finding reasons to fall out of love just to stay happy. So if love was a game now, then maybe silence was his best move. 6 weeks flew by, and Marcus had been so distracted by the breakup that he had not been getting any work done. Those simultaneous phone calls must have been one of his boys calling to curse him out. He partially owned one of the hottest nightclubs in Atlanta called Summer Nights. Actually, Marcus was pretty sure Daryl was the person interrupting his sleep. He was supposed to look over their quarterly content planner and incorporate the photos from their last event. This was supposed to be done the night he and Nessa broke up over 6 weeks ago. He had been disinterested in any form of work due to the exponential guilt and shame. It was Daryl who first said, "Stop all that begging, bro. If you really want to flip this, go ghost. Fall back. No more texts. No long ass apologies. Let her sit in silence." He swore up and down that no contact would make her miss him, called it a psychological reset. At first, it sounded dumb, but Marcus was hurt and out of moves, so he tried it. "Where the heck have you been? I needed the content planner approved 6 weeks ago. I don't want to hear nothing about the stuff I already posted without your approval, because I did the best I could. Y'all stay disappearing in the middle of a busy month. This is why I've been asking for an increase for my share of the profits, since I'm really the only one who's been consistently driving revenue. Next month, when I'm out of town, don't call me for nothing." As he suspected, Jonte was very angry. He hung up after his rant concluded. This was Marcus's first time disappearing in the middle of a busy month, but he couldn't say the same thing for the other two. This was a recurring issue that needed to be addressed, but not before Marcus finished his part of the quarterly tasks. Marcus and Nesta had lived together for a whole year while they planned their wedding. This was the reason he had procrastinated on completing his task thus far. The story of their short lived love affair was in his sleek 16-inch MacBook Pro M3. There were constant reminders of his failed engagement no matter what app he clicked open. On Excel, he would see their wedding cost spreadsheet. On Microsoft Word, he would see the list of wedding guests she forced him to write in front of her one night after they made love. On his Safari web browser, there would be the wedding venues they looked up before choosing a pricey venue in San Francisco. Lest he forget the huge wallpaper image of them kissing in the background while she flashed that huge diamond ring in front of the MacBook camera. He felt intense pressure on his chest as he went to change his wallpaper to a picture of his niece. This was that wave of unhappiness his pops had warned him about the other day. What hurt the most was the fact that, before Nessa, Marcus was a sleazy sinner. He refused to go deeper than intercourse with any woman because he was engrossed in his career and the joy of female variety. Nessa was different for him. He realized that she was the only woman who ever reciprocated the work and time he put into her. So he committed to spending the rest of his life with her. His stupidity just got in the way. Marcus couldn't help but wonder if he could make it right somehow, or should he even try? Part of him felt like reaching out again, apologizing until his voice gave out, but another part of him, the part that was tired of feeling this hollow, wondered if pulling back completely was the better move. Maybe if he gave her space, she'd remembered what they had. Maybe silence would make her miss him more than words ever could. No contact wasn't healing. Not really. It was strategy. But he was out of moves and he couldn't handle another rejection. He had to shake this feeling for now. Summer was around the corner and that was a major season for their nightclub. They had events with celebrity hosts, private functions, and a couple of dating events hosted by popular dating sites on the calendar. The number of these events almost tripled in the summer. This meant their revenue and costs would too. So they had to be sharp. As Marcus stared at the phone, his thumb hovering over Nesta's contact, memories of his childhood surfaced. He recalled the countless nights hearing his parents fight behind closed doors. His father, a proud, hard-headed man who never showed weakness, and his mother, bitter and broken, staying because of obligation and tradition. The fights were loud, full of insults, and left marks deeper than just the physical. He remembered the silence that followed each argument, the cold distance between his parents, and the way his mother's eyes seemed to die a little more each day. Marcus was just a boy, but he knew. He knew love could turn toxic. It could hurt. It could destroy. And as he grew older, he vowed never to end up like them. Never to be weak. Never to be vulnerable. So he built walls around his heart. Treated love like a game, not realizing that what he witnessed as a child was poisoning his view of relationships. As he thought of Nessa, the love they shared seemed distant, like a faint echo of something beautiful but lost. He remembered the way she cared for him, the way she made him feel safe, something his parents never showed him. But his fear of repeating the cycle, his fear of being trapped in a loveless marriage, held him back from being the man she needed. He knew deep down he pushed her away, not just because of his mistakes, but because he couldn't bear to let someone in the way his mother had let his father in. He couldn't drop his guard. Vulnerability felt dangerous, like giving someone the blueprint to destroy him. And Nessa? She got too close. He loved her for it, but it terrified him. Marcus gripped the phone tighter, his breath quickening. The path he was on felt like one of slow destruction, a mirror image of the toxic love he witnessed growing up. His father's coldness, his mother's silent resignation. Those patterns were etched into his bones. Maybe that's why he always held love at arm's length. Pushed when things got too real, hid behind silence when he didn't have the words. Then suddenly, her name flashed on the screen. Nessa. He froze. His stomach flipped as a surge of emotion rushed through him. Shock, panic, hope, dread, all at once. Was she calling to forgive him? Or to cuss him out one last time? Did she find out something else? Something worse? Or was this just a goodbye he wasn't ready to hear? His thumb hovered over the green button. He couldn't do it. Not like this. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to rewrite his story. Or maybe saying nothing was the better move for now. Maybe space was safer than stumbling over apologies that wouldn't fix it. He wondered if silence might do what words couldn't, pull her back. He didn't know if it was too late for him and Nessa, but the decision to change, to break free from the cycle of toxicity, started with him. Still, change was unfamiliar, uncomfortable. Maybe no contact would buy him time to get it together. Sup? Connie answered coldly. Trying to kick it? Marcus replied. No, I gotta take the baby to an appointment in the morning. Besides, don't you have a wedding to plan? She sneered. Clearly, she was still pissed, but it was unlike her to sound this bothered. We not together no more, he said, puffing his chest, doing his best impression of a man who didn't care. All that money you spent and you let her run out? Must have been bad. Listen, I ain't trying to get into it. You trying to kick it or not? He heard Connie walk into another room the way she always did when they were about to speak candidly. She found out about us. I don't need no shit coming to my door. I got a family, she snapped. Wow, thanks for your concern. He was already irritated with her selfishness, but what else should he expect from his ex-married side chick? Don't play with me, Marcus. Did she find out? Well, yes. Shit, you are so messy. You said you had your shit tight, and now this little girl gonna come and fuck up my life, too. She panicked. He could hear her silver earring tapping against the phone as she fidgeted. Messy. Yes, messy. But you've always been messy. That's why we didn't work out. Calling me other chicks' names in bed, leaving stuff around the house, you ain't never gonna change. You a whole ass hypocrite. Did you forget it was your idea to cheat on our partners just because you were bored with your dude? I'm already hurting. Don't add to it. She laughed hard at him, like real amusement, not shade. Hurting. I bet you're blaming her for the breakup with you just like you blamed me. You made a fool of that girl, and any woman with sense would have left you too after the games you played. Just move on, and next time, try not to get caught. She hung up quick. Marcus sat there staring at the dead screen. Clearly, she was an expert in not getting caught. He was honestly surprised her husband still hadn't sniffed out the 4-year affair they had damn near every week. But still, he wasn't about to take advice from a married woman sleeping with an ex who cheated on her. Connie and Marcus's relationship, that was lust, repetition, escape. But Nessa, he loved that woman. They had plans. They had roots. He shared parts of himself with her he never let anyone see. That's why it cut so deep when he lost her, and why he hated that someone like Connie, of all people, had the nerve to laugh at his pain. The worst part? She might have been right. He'd played too many games with Nessa. Lied, cheated, hid things. Now all he had left was silence. And maybe, if he could get control of that, use it right, let it sit between them, it would speak louder than his mistakes ever could. But the truth was, he didn't know if silence would make her miss him, or just finally let her heal. Marcus was giving a consultation and venue tour to a summer event client when his dad called. He declined it the first time. He was mid-sentence and trying to be professional. But then the call came 3 more times, back to back. That's when Marcus got worried. He excused himself and stepped into his office, answering with tension already building in his chest. You know how I feel about being put in the middle of shit, right? His dad barked the second he picked up. Marcus quickly took him off speaker and shut the door behind him. What are you talking about, old man? He asked, half confused and half annoyed by his dad's judgmental tone. Nessa and Ashton been calling me and your mama all week. Why are you ignoring her calls? I thought you wanted another shot to make things right. I need more time, Marcus snapped, voice slightly louder than he meant. Oh, okay, his dad said, sighing. But tell her that after you give her stuff back. She can't have her stuff back, Marcus growled. Oh, you mad now? His dad shot back. I raised you better than that, Marcus. Real men take accountability. Only lowlifes try to ditch consequences, and I know I ain't raised no lowlife. I took accountability, Marcus argued. She didn't want to hear it, so I'm doing it my way. This is not the way. His sentence cut short as a shuffle came through the line. Then his mom's voice came through, sharp and direct. Give her her stuff, or I'm using my key to get it for her. I won't take part in this mess. Me and Cheryl still go shopping together. You will not mess up my friendship with Nessa's mom just because you're being immature. You got 1 week to get it together, or I'm shipping it to her myself. Then, click. The line went dead. Damn, Marcus muttered, staring at the phone silent. He had to find a way to accelerate this process. So he called Daryl. Yo, bro, my parents are pressing me about this Nessa situation. Her mom, her sister, even my mom is on my ass. They're threatening to come get her shit. Damn, they're treating you like you stole it. Daryl chuckled. I ain't ready to give it back yet. There was a silence on the line. Then, you playing the long game, huh? I guess. I don't know. I need to feel like I'm not the one being abandoned. Like I'm in control or something. Daryl exhaled through the receiver. Look, if you're going to hold off, fine. But don't do it emotional. Do it smart. Stay silent. Don't text. Don't explain. Let her wonder. Let her miss you. Sometimes the absence says more than any damn apology ever could. Marcus ran a hand over his face. I don't know if that'll work. She loved you, right? You were about to marry her. Love doesn't just disappear, but she's mad. And if you keep begging, she'll stay mad. Give her that silence and she'll come looking for a reason to break it. That's when you move. Marcus nodded slowly, pacing again. Yeah, you're right. Until then, Daryl added, you don't gotta say no, but stall. Say you're waiting on a shipping company. Say some stuff's in storage. Say it's a legal thing if you gotta. Just don't let her call the shots while emotions are high. If she thinks she's controlling the narrative, she won't stop swinging. So I keep her on ice without outright beefing. Exactly. It ain't petty, it's positioning. Control the pace or you lose. Marcus hung up feeling steady. For now. Marcus never replied to Nessa's last text. She had sent another calm, mature message that morning asking if he could please confirm a date to ship her things. She even offered to pay for it. He stared at it for 10 minutes, then closed it. Instead of responding to her message, he hit up Ashlyn. He figured going through her sister would soften the blow, maybe even make him look like he was taking steps. He typed, Hey Ash, just wanted to let you know I haven't forgotten about Nessa's things. I've been going through some stuff mentally. I need a little more time, but I'll make sure everything gets to her. Appreciate your patience. No lies, just omissions. Ashlyn replied an hour later, You got 1 more week before my mama shows up herself. Get it together. Fair. But even that short delay bought Marcus something. Silence, space, power. He scrolled through Nessa's social media daily, monitoring her moods like a weatherman, watching radar before a storm. At first, it was all angry quotes, rage-colored posts about men who lie, cheat, and take their women for granted, memes about dudes risking everything for a stale piece of ass, rants about how liars never prosper. Then her tone shifted. She started posting hopeful quotes, memes about future husbands, thread about manifesting true love, embracing the journey regardless of the pain. It was like watching her detox from him in real time. Now, she was somewhere in emotional remission. Her posts had softened. Sensual captions about missing intimacy, wanting real connection, slides about deep eye contact, kisses that meant something, and slow, spiritual intercourse. She uploaded pictures daily, proclaiming how she had forgotten her worth but was learning to love herself again. There were shots of her and Ashlyn out on the town in work clothes, dressed up at events, and she looked so damn good. Nessa had worn her natural twist their entire relationship. But now she had in some 30-inch deep wavy Brazilian or something, long, luxurious, thick hair. It hung like silk. She always had a small waist and a full top, but that hair accentuated the curves like it was made for her body. In one picture, she posed with her leg up on the bathroom counter, hip poked out and head tilted back like a damn goddess. Her hair laid against her body, riding her curves and finally resting on her full hips. The same hips Marcus loved to hold while he kissed her, made love to her, or even just watched her sleep. The hips that were supposed to bear his future children and sit next to him as he took his last breath. He shook the thoughts loose, realizing he was getting too emotional. Nessa had made her move, and now he had to make his. But he missed her like crazy. Bad, and the social media pics, they were just enough to keep him afloat. The best thing about Instagram and Facebook, she had no idea how many times he visited her page. No idea who was watching or how often. Every now and then, he'd let himself indulge and watch her stories, but even that had to be limited since those did keep track of who was watching. Eventually, though, time ran out. His mama wasn't bluffing, so he had to ship Nessa's stuff back. But he had a strategy. He sent it express. Tucked inside was a small pack of her favorite candy and 2 spools of that expensive yarn she liked for crocheting. Not much, but just enough to say, "You'll never find a man who knows you better than I do." And it worked. She texted, "Thank you for sending everything and for the extras. That was thoughtful." Marcus stared at that message all day. He damn near teared up. It had been weeks since she said anything kind to him, and for a second, just for a second, he felt warmth in his chest. He didn't reply. He couldn't. That would have broken the no contact strategy. But he celebrated anyway. Let's just say he appreciated one of those sexy bathroom pictures in his own way, if you know what I mean. Then something miraculous happened. She messaged again. "Hey, just wanted to make sure you got my text. Thinking of you." He didn't respond. And that was the spiral Daryl warned him about. The one thing Daryl forgot to mention was that Marcus would miss Nessa as much as she missed him, if not more. He had to pretend not to care about someone he cared about. That wasn't easy. The distance made her miss him, but he missed her too. Probably missed her more because she could be vocal and honest about her feelings while he had to pretend. Being the one in control didn't curb the cravings for the touch of the one he loved. But he thought it would. Marcus had never left Nessa on red. Not once. He knew she was confused, probably hurt, and he felt like crap about it. But he had to keep his emotions at bay. Had to keep playing the long game. Then came the next week. Another message. "Do you want to talk in person?" He stared at his phone so long the screen dimmed. The words blurred. His heart thundered. She was inviting him in. The door wasn't open, but it wasn't locked either. She was reaching, not because she'd healed, but because the silence had gotten to her. Because the game was working. Marcus knew what this was. This wasn't love. This wasn't closure. This was power shifting. Back to him. But control? Control never lasts. Should he answer? Should he pull up? Say what she wanted to hear? Or say nothing at all? He didn't know. But one thing was certain. She bit the bait. And now, it was his move. "It was stupid," he admitted. "It was all I could think of. But I've been working on myself, trying to fix it. I know how you feel about games." "Yes," she snapped, her voice slicing through the air. "Games are for people who can't handle vulnerability. You manipulate emotions to avoid your own. But in the end, Marcus, who really wants you?" The question stunned him. It cracked something in him wide open. Nessa stepped forward again, this time her voice lowering into a venom-laced whisper. Who really fucks with you? She asked. You don't believe anyone would love you without your strategies. You hold on to control because you think it's the only thing that keeps you from being alone. But you don't know how to love. Not really. Not without trying to own someone. He couldn't respond. Couldn't even look at her. Marcus stared at her message for what felt like an hour. It was the crack in the door he'd been waiting for. And he had missed her. But shouldn't these games have amounted to much more than just an invite to talk? She wasn't begging. She wasn't unraveling. It didn't feel like surrender. It felt like curiosity, caution, control slipping through his fingers. He was no stranger to games, but this game was new for him. So he did what he always did when things felt too uncertain. He called Daryl. The phone barely rang twice. You finally got her reaching out, Daryl said eagerly. What'd she say? Marcus sat on the edge of his couch, thumb rubbing the bridge of his nose. She asked if I wanted to talk in person. Daryl paused. Then, that's it? Yeah. Nah, too soon. What do you mean? Bro, if she ain't begging, if she ain't saying I miss you or pulling up on some emotional breakdown type vibes, it's too soon. You give her a face to face right now, she gets the upper hand. She gets answers, closure, control. Marcus didn't respond, just stared at the wall while Daryl kept going. He just wanted this to be over with. But he wasn't a quitter. This ain't about talk. It's about leverage. Silence is still working. You've been in her head for weeks. The minute you show up looking soft or unsure, it's over. She'll feel safe walking away. She'll feel like she won. Marcus sighed. But what if it's real? What if this is her way of trying? Then she'll try harder. If she really wants you, she'll show up again. And this time, you won't have to guess what it means. She'll make it loud, make it undeniable. Right now, this message ain't it. This message saying she's testing the waters. Don't respond. Not yet. Marcus nodded slowly, not because it felt right, but because it made sense in the language he understood best. Strategy. He hovered over her message one last time, read it again, felt something ache in his chest he didn't know how to name. Then he locked his phone, stood up, and walked away. Nessa sat on the edge of her bed, phone in her hand, staring at the message she had sent. Sent, read, no reply. Nothing. No typing bubble, no call, no closure, just silence. She exhaled hard, trying to play it cool. Maybe he was thinking. Maybe he needed time. Maybe he'd call tomorrow. But as the hours stretched into a full day and then into two, a familiar ache crept in. The kind that whispered, you moved too fast. You should have listened instead of reacting. You blew it. She curled up on the couch, knees to her chest, replaying that night in her mind. The name he whispered, the fury in her chest, the way she packed her bags like her body moved without her mind. No warning, no space for a lie, no room for an explanation. Now she wondered, what if there was one? What if it wasn't what it seemed? Tears welled in her eyes and she wiped them away before they fell. Because no one knew she was struggling, not even her sister. To the outside world, she was glowing, reclaiming herself, posting affirmations and pictures of joy. But inside, she was unraveling in silence. Every day without his voice chipped away at her confidence. What if I misunderstood? What if I gave up too easily? What if I was the reason this ended? And that was the hardest part. Not the betrayal, not the silence, but the not knowing. Not knowing if he still loved her, not knowing if he hated her, not knowing if her decision to walk away was a mistake. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed quietly, the kind of tears cried when no one is looking, the kind that feel too shameful to speak out loud. She didn't know if she wanted him back. She just wanted to understand. And that's what hurt the most. Because she reached out. She opened the door. And all she got in return was nothing. Nessa hadn't eaten all day. There was food in the fridge. She had even meal prepped like she always did on Sundays. But nothing tasted right. Nothing felt right. She kept checking her phone like it was broken. Like maybe a message had slipped through. Maybe it didn't deliver. Maybe. Always maybe. By day 4, the silence started speaking louder than any text ever could. She sat on the floor of her bedroom, surrounded by a half open box of yarn and crochet needles she couldn't bring herself to touch. The things that used to calm her now just reminded her of him, of how well he knew her, of how much attention he paid, of how easy it had been to fall in love. Was it too easy? Did I imagine it all? She started scrolling through old pictures on her phone, their birthdays, that weekend trip to Charleston, that video of him dancing horribly in the kitchen while she cooked, just to make her laugh. She smiled, then cried, then got angry at herself for crying. Why did I reach out first? Why did I even care? Her mind kept swinging between the truth and the fantasy, between he hurt me and maybe I hurt him first, between he should have chased me and maybe I was too cold. By nightfall, she was pacing her living room in circles, mumbling to herself. Maybe I was dramatic. I could have let him explain. What if I shut the door too fast? She grabbed her phone, typed out a message, deleted it, typed it again, deleted it again. She couldn't even trust her own thoughts anymore. And that's what broke her. Not the silence, not the heartbreak, but the fact that she didn't know what was real anymore. Her trust in herself, shaky. Her grip on the truth, fading. Her dignity, feeling like it was hanging by a thread she had crocheted herself. And just like that, she collapsed on the couch, clutching a pillow to her chest like it could hold her together. She didn't cry this time. The tears had dried up. All that remained was the ache. That awful, heavy ache of feeling like maybe she was the one who ruined it. Like maybe she was too much, too guarded, too hard to love. Rock bottom wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was cold. It was this moment where she didn't even know what to feel anymore. Nessa wasn't herself. She hadn't been for weeks. Her twist out was overdue. Her skin was dull. Her inbox at work was overflowing with unanswered emails. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't care. She stopped wearing her signature lip gloss, stopped her midweek coffee runs, stopped dressing up even a little for work Zoom calls. She barely spoke to anyone unless she had to. Her phone stayed on Do Not Disturb. Even her sister backed off, assuming Nessa just needed time to grieve. People whispered. They figured it was the breakup. The engagement that ended with no details. The girl who used to radiate peace and purpose now flickering like a dim light. So, one Saturday afternoon, without warning, her girl showed up. Ashlyn, Lex, Bree, loud, uninvited, but determined. Her sister banged on the door like she had a warrant. Nessa, I swear if you don't open this door, I'm picking the lock with a bobby pin. Lex chimed in from behind her. And don't test her, she's done it before. Nessa opened the door, hoodie on, bonnet crooked, eyes tired. Hey, she said weakly. All three women stared. Ashlyn blinked. Girl, when was the last time you saw sunlight? Nessa cracked a half smile. I go to mailbox. Not what I meant. Before she could protest, they were inside, pulling out outfits, grabbing makeup bags, ignoring her weak objections. Get dressed, Bree said. We're going out. Just a little vibe, nothing crazy. We miss you. Nessa sighed. Not really in the mood. Lex touched her arm gently. Then we'll bring the mood to you, but you're coming. An hour later, she was sitting in a small lounge with neon lights and soulful R&B in the background, sipping a drink she didn't ask for but was grateful to hold. That's when she saw him. He wasn't flashy, but he had that energy, calm, confident, intentional. The kind of presence that made the room lean in without knowing why. He walked past, did a double take, then came back. Excuse me, he said with a smile that didn't try too hard. I hope this isn't too forward, but I noticed you from across the room. You have this stillness about you. Stillness. The very thing she felt was swallowing her whole, yet to him, it looked like peace. She tilted her head, intrigued. Stillness? He nodded. Like, your energy doesn't need the room's permission to be present. It's rare. Nessa blinked, a little stunned. That's different. I'm Nessa. Jordan, he said, extending his hand. I'm not trying to disrupt your night, but I'd love to take you to dinner sometime. Just us. No noise. Her friends behind her were practically holding their breath. Nessa felt their eyes, felt the world tilt a little beneath her. She looked at him. His smile was kind. His eyes were honest. And for a moment, she felt seen. Really seen. And though her heart was still tangled in silence and grief, she said, Okay, I like that. Marcus was doing his usual late night scroll. He didn't like her photos anymore. He couldn't break no contact, but he damn sure stayed lurking. He hit her Instagram. New post. A picture of Nessa and her sister at some lounge, smiling, glowing, carefree. It took all of 2 seconds for him to zoom in. That's when he saw him, some dude, in the blurred background leaning in close, laughing, his hand just barely grazing Nessa's chair. Marcus' stomach dropped. He blinked, zoomed again. looked at the guy's posture, the way Nessa wasn't even looking back, like she was unbothered. Unbothered. Hell no. Green recorded the story and immediately called Daryl. Yo! Daryl sounded half asleep. What's up? I think she's talking to somebody, Marcus said, his voice low but tight, panic tucked behind fake calm. Who? Look at her sister's story. Dude in the background. Yeah, close and comfortable. Daryl yawned, not impressed. Well, it's just a dude. Could be a friend. Could be the waiter. Waiters don't lean in like that. Marcus snapped. And Nessa don't be posting no randoms. So what? You think she already moved on? Daryl scoffed. This strategy is foolproof, bro. She's still in the spiral. You gave her silence. She's feeling the absence. Marcus was quiet. Daryl continued. Even if she is chilling with dude, it ain't serious. She's just trying to numb herself from the pain. That's all. She'll come back around. Trust me. Marcus rubbed his forehead. I know, he muttered. She ain't sleeping with nobody. Not this soon. Nessa don't move like that. Exactly, Daryl said. She's not built like that. She's still hurt. You still in control. But something inside Marcus shifted. For the first time, he wasn't sure. Not about the game, not about Daryl, about her. Because in that photo, blurry or not, she didn't look hurt. She looked like she might actually be okay. And that terrified him. Because if she wasn't spiraling, if she wasn't lost without him, then maybe he really did lose her. Nessa sat at the edge of the couch in Gina's apartment, her untouched glass of wine sweating on the coffee table. Lex was sprawled across the floor, flipping through a magazine without actually reading it. You've been quiet all night, Lex finally said. What's going on? Nessa shrugged, trying to play it off. Nothing. Just tired. Girl, you're not tired, Ashlyn said. You're tired of pretending. Nessa gave a half smile and looked down at her hands. It's Marcus. Both women exhaled at the same time, like they'd been holding it in for weeks. What about him? Ashlyn asked gently. Nessa hesitated. I reached out, asked him if he'd wanted to talk, and he didn't respond at all. Lex sat up. Wait, he ignored you? Yep. Nessa nodded. No call, no text, nothing. Ashlyn tilted her head. How many times did you reach out? Nessa hesitated. A few. Lex raised an eyebrow. Nessa groaned. Okay, like 6, 7. But it wasn't all at once. I thought he needed time at first. Then I thought maybe he didn't get it. Then I thought maybe he just needed to hear me say I was sorry. Both women stared at her. Lex shook her head slowly. Girl. Ashlyn sighed. Oh no. He's running game. What? No. Nessa frowned. He's just hurt. Probably thinks I abandoned him. He's not hurt, Lex said flatly. He's calculating. That man is doing something called no contact. Look it up. It's a manipulation strategy to make you chase him. Hard to get 101, her sister added. They ignore you until you spiral. They feed off your energy, your attempts, your guilt. Nessa looked stunned. So you're saying he's doing this on purpose? Yes, they said in unison. She slumped back against the couch, overwhelmed. But I didn't know. I didn't know that's what he was doing. I thought maybe he just needed time to heal. I, I thought I heard him. Lex looked at her, soft but firm. You did what any woman with a heart would do. Try to fix it. But he's using your compassion to keep control. Ashlyn picked up Nessa's phone. It's time. For what? Nessa asked. To block him. What? No. Nessa sat up. That feels petty. It's not petty, Lex said. It's necessary. As long as he can still see your stories, still check your page, still feel you wanting him, he has power. I don't want power, Nessa said quietly. I just want to move on. Ashlyn met her eyes. Then blocking him is the first step. Not revenge. For peace. For you. Nessa stared at her phone. Her thumb hovered. And then tap. Block. 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 Instagram. Text. Phone. Facebook. Everything. She dropped the phone on the table and exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for weeks. I don't feel powerful, she whispered. You're not supposed to, Ashlyn said. You're supposed to feel free. Nessa hadn't felt like this in years. Not anxious, not confused, not trying to decode mixed signals or replay old wounds. Just at peace. The sun hit differently these days, warm instead of heavy. Her laugh came easier. Her sleep was deeper. The weight she used to carry, the second guessing, the aching silence that haunted her after Marcus went ghost, gone. She stood barefoot in the kitchen of her new apartment. Their new apartment, stirring almond milk into her coffee while Jordan wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. You always make the best coffee, he murmured, kissing her shoulder. She smiled. You say that like I didn't show you how to make it last week. Yeah, but it tastes better when it comes from your hands. He kissed her again, gentle, uncomplicated. They'd only been back in the city for a few weeks. Jordan had gotten a job opportunity he couldn't pass up, ironically in the same city Marcus lived in. Nessa hesitated at first, but something about the move felt symbolic. Like she wasn't running anymore. She was reclaiming space, rewriting the story. This time, not as the girl who lost herself loving the wrong man, but the woman who found herself being loved the right way. Jordan was everything she hadn't realized she needed. Consistent, communicative, emotionally available. He didn't make her beg for reassurance. He gave it freely. He didn't disappear when she was vulnerable. He leaned in. He didn't make her guess where she stood. He told her daily. And she believed him because his love didn't come with confusion or games. It came with clarity, with presence, with safety. Jordan stepped back and grabbed his keys from the counter. You good for dinner at 7? Mm-hmm. I'll be dressed. Don't forget that red dress I like. She rolled her eyes with a grin. We'll see. As he walked out the door, she looked around the apartment. It wasn't just a space. It was a new beginning. No ghosts. No games. No guilt. Just her. Her heart. And a love that didn't make her question if she was too much or not enough. She was happy. And the best part, it didn't come from a man who played chess with her emotions. It came from a man who saw her clearly and simply chose her. Marcus paced his office like a man possessed, phone pressed to his ear, jaw locked. The Instagram block, the silence, and then the final blow. His mom casually talking on speakerphone with Nessa's mom while she assisted the staff with decor for the next event. Yeah, girl, the event is Saturday. Nessa's hosting it with her boyfriend. Oh, girl, he's so sweet. Clean cut, respectful, has a real job. They just moved back, you know? That was all he needed to hear. He dialed Daryl with shaking hands. Yo, Daryl answered. You good? No, nigga, I'm not, Marcus snapped. She moved on. She's hosting some event downtown with a whole new dude. My girl, bro. My fiance. Daryl paused. I breathe. No, I should have never listened to your dumb ass, Marcus barked. All this no contact, all this strategy wasn't no strategy. It was sabotage. She just bluffing, man. Trying to get a rise out of. Marcus laughed, bitter and cold. Bluff. You think this is a bluff? She blocked me. Not ignored. Not muted. Blocked. And now she got a whole new nigga. She ain't bluffing. She's done. Daryl stayed quiet. Marcus kept going. You told me to wait. You told me this plan was foolproof. But I was sitting here feeding off silence while she was learning how to be loved the right way by somebody else. Bro. No, fuck that, Daryl. I ain't about to be some cautionary tale you use to boost your ego. I'm not losing the best thing that ever happened to me to a man who just showed up. Marcus, if you go now, you lose all the power you earned. She'll see right through it. I don't give a fuck about power anymore. Marcus growled. This ain't a game. This is my life. And I'm done being a player in a game that cost me my future. Don't do it. I'm getting my woman back. I don't care if I gotta stand in front of her whole family and cry like Tyrese on Instagram. She's gonna know how I feel tonight. Marcus hung up. No hesitation. No more moves. No more silence. He grabbed his keys and his hoodie. Because if Nessa was gonna see him again, she was gonna see the real him. Not the one Daryl coached. Not the one that played the waiting game. Just the man who finally realized he lost. And the only thing left to do was fight. The bedroom was dim, lit only by the soft glow of the bedside lamp. Jordan lay against the headboard, one arm behind his head, the other resting gently on Nessa's thigh as she sat at the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone in silence. She wasn't reading. She was thinking. Nessa set the phone down slowly. My mom called, she said quietly. Jordan looked over from the couch, eyes warm but alert. Yeah. She said Marcus has been asking about me, trying to get tickets to my event. Even lied and told people I invited him. Just left the address out. Jordan scoffed. Thought dude ghosted you after y'all broke up. He did. So why now? Nessa shrugged. I blocked him after Gina, Lex, and Ashlyn told me he was pulling that no contact stunt, trying to manipulate me into missing him or something. Jordan's jaw clenched slightly. Wow, he's one of those. She nodded. Yeah, and I don't play games like that. I'm too genuine for that kind of nonsense, especially with someone who doesn't even love himself. Jordan leaned back, shaking his head. So what? He's trying to spin the block and act like he still got pull? Basically. You want me there? He asked, shifting in his seat, in case he tries to pull anything slick. Nessa looked up at him. I want you there, but I can handle him. He searched her face carefully. You sure you feel safe? She paused for a moment, then nodded. It's not about fear. I just have some things I need to say out loud to his face. The air between them shifted, quiet, but charged. Jordan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Say the word, and I'm there. Silent. If he even breathes wrong, I got you. But this is your space, your moment. You lead. I'm just back up. Nessa smiled faintly, her fingers brushing the edge of the comforter. I'm not scared of Marcus. Not anymore. I've outgrown the version of me that needed his attention to feel worthy. Jordan reached over, kissed the back of her hand gently, and met her gaze. Then I'm with you and behind you. She leaned into his chest, his arms wrapping around her without hesitation. And in that stillness, her head resting against a man who never made her question her worth, Nessa didn't feel fear. She felt ready. Not for the drama, not for revenge, just for closure, truth, and, finally, peace. Nessa arrived early with Jordan to the venue to finalize the details. Approve centerpieces, handle vendor payments, and greet guests, many of whom had followed her creative journey online from day one. With her talent spanning design, coaching, and branding, she had become more than just a creative. She was a guide, a force, someone others admired for how she moved, intentional, polished, and powerful. Jordan remained in the background, composed and observant, syncing with security to ensure everything went smoothly. His presence had always been calming, solid, especially compared to Marcus, whose love had always felt like a moving target, scattered, distracted, chaotic. As Nessa stood at the front of the room reviewing her speaking notes, one of the guards muttered something into Jordan's earpiece. Man approaching her now, kind of close. Jordan tensed slightly, ready to step in, but before he could, Nessa raised her hand gently, signaling him to stand down. She already knew who it was. She felt him before she saw him. Marcus. He walked toward her with hesitation, every step laced with uncertainty. He didn't move like someone confident in his purpose. He moved like someone bracing for impact. Her plan had been clear. Tell him off. Give the monologue she'd rehearsed endlessly in her head. But when their eyes finally met, the anger she had clung to melted into something else. Empathy. Maybe even pity. Hey, Marcus said, hands on his hips, voice low. Hey, she replied, her tone quiet and sincere, but undeniably distant. I heard your boy over there trying to cut a nigga down, he said, chuckling softly, trying to keep things light, trying to fall into old rhythms. But Nessa didn't budge. Her silence held weight. And Marcus felt it. The look she gave him. The one that cut past every defense, every excuse, every performance. It was a look that said, I see you. You? She finally said, a small smirk tugging at her lips. You're harmless. She waved off security with a gentle gesture, but her eyes, they were sad, tired. Marcus lowered his head. After all the harm I caused, I don't know if that's the right word to use. A pause stretched between them, long, fragile, heavy with things unsaid. Then Nessa stepped forward and broke the silence. What did you get out of this, Marmar? Her voice shifted, tender and intimate, almost maternal. Only she had ever called him that. Marmar. The nickname hit him in the chest. He looked like he might fall apart just hearing it. You did all this. She gestured toward the phone half tucked in his pocket. Just to have what? Control? Power? The upper hand? I just wanted you to come back. He admitted, I knew I messed up. And how else could I get a second chance without gaining control? She interrupted gently, her voice not accusatory, but curious, wanting to understand, even though she already did. Marcus hesitated. Before he could respond, she cut him off again. Daryl told me that. Daryl told you, she repeated, her calm slipping. Daryl. The same Daryl you said was too dumb to pick a partner for his own dog. You took his advice about us. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. The fire behind her eyes said it all. Controlled, measured, devastating. I had to do something, Marcus insisted. I didn't want to lose you. He stepped in closer, but Nessa backed away, both palms up like a barrier. And that was the best move you could make? Her voice trembled now, cracked by disbelief. I feel sorry for you. She turned her head away, curls falling over her shoulder in a familiar, involuntary motion, one she hadn't outgrown. Marcus stared, heartbreaking all over again. It was stupid, he admitted. It was all I could think of. But I've been working on myself, trying to fix it. I know how you feel about games. Yes, she snapped, her voice slicing through the air. Games are for people who can't handle vulnerability. You manipulate emotions to avoid your own. But in the end, Marcus, who really wants you? The question stunned him. It cracked something in him wide open. Nessa stepped forward again, this time her voice lowering into a venom-laced whisper. Who really fucks with you? She asked. You don't believe anyone would love you without your strategies. You hold on to control because you think it's the only thing that keeps you from being alone. But you don't know how to love. Not really. Not without trying to own someone. He couldn't respond. Couldn't even look at her. His fingers fidgeted with a piece of folded paper in his pocket. An old ticket stub, maybe. A relic of a better time. Now, just trash. Lifting his eyes, tears fell freely down his face. But I've changed, he whispered. I swear I have. I've been thinking, doing the work, trying to make it right. No, she said, voice like a blade. You've been strategizing. And that's not the same thing. She took a step back, composed herself. There's no way to make this right. You got caught cheating. Then you tried to manipulate me back. And you lost. Because the one thing you really wanted, she pointed to her chest, you'll never have again. Marcus looked like he'd just been struck. And the sick part, she added, stepping in with one last blow. You had it. You had everything. And you got greedy. Now you get nothing. Her words dropped like stones into a still pond. No yelling, no chaos, just ripples of truth too heavy to ignore. She drew in a breath and her tone softened. Not forgiving, but final. I still want more for you, Marmar. I really do. Even if it's not with me. Go to counseling. Heal. Move on. No more games. Just be real. For once in your life. She reached out and brushed his shoulder softly, like wiping away dust or guilt. Then she walked past him, her scent lingering, her footsteps fading. Marcus stood there in the middle of it all, wrecked and deserving every word. Marcus stood still, rooted to the spot. Even after Nessa walked away, she didn't yell. She didn't throw a drink in his face. She didn't call him names. She did something far worse. She saw him. And then she walked away for good. His fingers curled around the folded ticket stub in his pocket. Their last concert together. He had kept it, thinking maybe, just maybe, he could use it one day to show her that he remembered the little things. But even now, it felt like a receipt for something he could never return to. Behind him, Jordan approached without a word, placing a steady hand on Marcus's shoulder. The touch grounded him, brought him back from the fog of his thoughts. Man to man, Justin said, calm but firm. The only competitive advantage you get in a relationship is love, vulnerability. Control might win you the moment, but love? He nodded toward Nessa. Love don't expire. Then, with a respectful smile, Jordan walked over and kissed Nessa's cheek before disappearing into the back. Marcus wiped his face roughly, jaw locked tight. Punk, he muttered under his breath. But the truth of it, the weight of it, settled like bricks on his chest. He had played all the right moves, pulled the strings, set the traps, calculated her reactions like numbers on a spreadsheet. But love wasn't something to outwit. It wasn't a win. It was a surrender. And now that he finally understood that, he also understood this. He lost her the moment he started playing games with her heart. He turned toward the exit, his steps heavy but no longer aimless. It was over. But the lesson had just begun. Marcus sat on the back porch of his childhood home, nursing a glass of bourbon that had long gone warm. His phone sat untouched on the table. No texts, no notifications, no Nessa, no Connie. Just his tipsy thoughts and the sound of his finger tapping the side of the glass. His father stepped outside moments later, settling into the creaky wooden chair beside him. The older man looked calmer than usual, wiser, softened by the years of hard lessons. Your mom told me you've been out here a while, his father said quietly. You look like hell. Marcus gave a weak chuckle. Feel even worse. They sat in silence for a beat before his father spoke again, his voice low but steady. So, what happened with Nessa? Marcus exhaled deeply, voice thick. I lost her. Again. Playing a game. I thought that if I controlled the pieces, I could win her back. But she saw through it. His father nodded slowly, eyes trained on the fading light stretching across the yard. When women like Nessa, they love for real. They feel deep. You try to play them, you'll lose a winning hand. Marcus shook his head, wiping at his face, his tears angry and bitter. You're right. Damn. I had her heart. All I had to do was take care of it. Instead, I treated her like a strategy. His father leaned back with a quiet sigh, his voice low but steady. I used to be like that, cold, calculated, treated your mother the same way. Silent, controlling, thought that's what being a man meant. He turned, locking eyes with Marcus. But being a man don't give you license to be cold and controlling. Once a woman gives you her heart, you gotta soften up or you lose it. Marcus swallowed hard, the truth burning its way down. He looked away, then looked back again, eyes wet, heart wrecked. Your mom stayed because I changed. I had to learn the hard way after she moved out. Had to face myself. I stopped trying to own her. Stopped trying to win every fight. I started showing up and being vulnerable. His father's eyes glistened just a little. It wasn't easy, but it saved us. Marcus shook his head slowly, voice low. I know love isn't a game, but I don't know any other way to see it. If I can't strategize my way into her heart, how else do I get there? His father let out a quiet sigh, a knowing one, then looked him square in the eyes. You earn it, son. You show up. You be honest. You be real. You don't scheme your way into a woman's heart. You walk in with your chest open, even if it might get broken. He gripped Marcus's shoulder with a firm hand. You still got a chance to be that man, but you gotta unlearn the cold to feel the warmth. Be soft. Be open. Feel the pain. Cry if you need to, because the next time, he paused, voice sharp now. You won't be trying to control love. You'll know how to give it, and that's the only way to keep it. Marcus looked up at the sky, his chest tight, throat burning. His father's words didn't just settle in, they carved a place inside him. For the first time, he didn't want to be the player, didn't want to win, didn't want control. He just wanted to love right. And now he knew. Games end. Love doesn't. Unless you play it wrong. Checkmate.
Back, but I can't. I wanna leave you behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love you, darling. It's not easy to love you, darling. I should love you in the moment. I should tell you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. You just run, you don't talk.